Hello, it's Derek Arden. I'm just going to lock the screen for security reasons, which I'm sure everybody's now aware of, which you must do on Zoom. Welcome to this chat show. I've got a fantastic selection of my speaker friends from the Professional Speaking Association today, plus the usual session from Ali the physio. So I hope you've been doing your stretching exercises, or you'll be in big trouble because she will wag her finger at you. I'm going to quickly share my screen because I want to, thought I was going to share my screen. Yeah, I was going to share my screen. No, I'm not going to share my screen yet because, yeah, I'm going to share my screen. I want you to know I really do know what I'm doing. So guys, I wanted to thank you for joining the 17th web chat show. There's 15 that Keith has put on YouTube, and he's also put them on my podcast channel, which is fantastic. So if you missed anything or you want to recommend them to anybody else, please do. But as with LinkedIn and YouTube, please like it, please like them and make some comment. I don't really mind what you say. It would be a nice comment, would be better than not a nice comment. But they're all up there now. So Keith's done a fabulous job on that, and you can watch them. And this one will be up there as well. So welcome. My first guest is Will Kintish, and Will is going to talk to us. Two questions I'm going to ask him first before Ali comes on, and then a third question at the end. The first question is asking the right questions when you go to a meeting, when you go to a networking event, is crucial to our success. The questions you ask determines the answers that you get. So welcome, Will. Thanks for joining us again after our last experience. I'm delighted to see you. And what are these questions we're supposed to ask?
Okay, Derek, thanks for inviting me. Let's hope we don't see any naughty images again today. There are 4 areas of questioning everyone, whether it's online or offline. And the 4 areas of questioning are the icebreaker question, business questions, small talk questions, and follow-up questions. And very quickly, I'll run through what they are. When you go to an event or even meet somebody online, don't start off with, what do you do? As far as I'm concerned, and you might find this very strange, everybody, but networking is absolutely nothing to do with business. Networking is simply building relationships, and business will only happen after a series of questions have been asked and answers have been given, and people like you. Because when people don't like you, believe me, they'll look for every reason to find somebody else to do business with. So the icebreaker question at a live event should never be, what do you do? Always something like, hello there, where have you traveled from today? Hello there, what made you come to this event? Hello there, oh, I see we're both invited by Barclays Bank to their event. Who do you know at Barclays Bank? Or a 4th one is, have you been to this venue before? And the 5th one is, if somebody's standing on their own, do you know anyone here tonight? Because if they don't know anybody and they're nervous, be warned. They follow you around for the whole evening. So it's important you know whether they know anyone or not. And one of the days, Derek's going to invite me on, and we're going to talk about how to move on, particularly from the leash. So those are the icebreaker questions. Business questions should be broken down into 3 sections. Ask people about their now, what they're doing at the present time. Ask them about their past, and then ask them about their future. A couple of questions to ask people about their now. If you say, what do you do? And they say, I work at such a company. Make sure you always ask, what is your role? And the other key question I always want to know is the size and scale of the organization that they represent. Because I generally only work with bigger companies. So it's useful to know how many people work there. That's the question I normally ask. How many people do you work with? And that gives me a good indication of size and scale of a business. Questions about their past. I bet all of you in this room love to be asked this question. How did you get started in that? Or what made you become an after-dinner speaker and magician? John Hotowka? People love that question. So I know you don't know the answer, John, and you're on mute, which is the most wonderful thing in the world.
I agree with that, Will.
Thank you. Always ask them, how did you get started, or what made you become and how long did the business be going? And then if you're enjoying the conversation and you ask, or you think there might be something in this, you're talking to a senior person, he or she, you think they might use my services, make sure that you ask a question about the future. Where do you see your business going or your career going in the next year or two? Always put a timeline on your questioning. So, for example, the question I hate more than anything in the world, and I hope you're going to join me in this once I have shared it with you, is how's business? And when, even before COVID-19 arrived, how's business? Do you mean today, this week, this month? Ask people a trendy question. How's the year started for you? How's the year going for you? How, towards the end of the year, how has the year gone for you? So those are the three areas of business questions. Small talk questions. As far as I'm concerned, if you really want to get to know people, make sure you ask questions like, so when you're not working, what do you do in your spare time? And there's a very important reason for that. You see, can I beg you all never to ask of a stranger two key questions? Are you married and have you got children? Because when you ask the wrong person the wrong question on the wrong day, it can cause a lot of upset. But you know what? If I had a one-to-one with you guys, and I'd be delighted to hear from you if you want one, if I had a one-to-one with you guys, I would never ask, are you married and have you got children? But what I will ask you is, so what do you do when you're not working? Or where was your last holiday? Or when everything gets back to normal, where are you hoping to go for your holidays? So by asking those two questions, if people have got partners, husbands, wives, or children, they will share that information with you. So be very careful on that. So we've done the icebreaker, we've done the business questions, we've done the small talk questions, and finally, the follow-up. When you meet somebody at an event and you're getting on well with them and they're showing some genuine interest in what you do, be very, very careful. For goodness sake, do not go into selling mode. You're not going to sell at the event. You're never going to sell, but if you are going to do getting near to selling, it will be next week when you go and meet them. So what I want you to do, if you spot a light bulb moment, or I call it the aha moment, this is what I want you to do. Shall we exchange cards? Get their card, look at their card, find something to comment on about their card, and then ask the big question. Do you remember a few moments ago when we were talking, you said, prospect, you said you had an issue with X. You then look them in the eye to make sure they're telling you the truth. How do you feel about me giving you a call later in the week, and let's continue this conversation then. And if you think it's worth it, we can then get together. I then want you to agree a day or days when you're going to call them. If they've got more than one phone number on their business card, make sure you ask this question, which is the best number to get you on? And what I do want you to do, and some of you won't like this, but it works for me, if you feel they really want to hear from you and they've agreed to take your call next Wednesday afternoon, say, do you mind if I just jot it down on the back of your card so I won't forget to follow you up? And just before I go, for those of you who hate following up, can I leave you with this thought? Unless I'm talking to a room of con men and con women, you have a service or product that will add value to your prospects. Can I have a hand up if that's true? Have you all got a product or service that will add value? Thank you, 100%. And therefore, you are going to charge them that amount of money, but the value they're going to get from you after they bought your service or product is that much. So you are following up to do them a favor. So if you don't follow up, not only are you stupid, but you are doing them a disservice. So I'm going to hand back to you, Derek, and just leave you with that thought. For those of you who don't like following up, remember this: you're following up for mutual benefit and to make them probably more money than you're going to make. Because if your service is great, they're going to do a lot better out of it than you. So please, when you spot the aha moment, always follow up.
Fantastic, Will. I've heard you talk on the main stage many times on that and as quiet meetings. I always learn something from you, something I didn't remember. I call them relearning points, something that I knew but I didn't do and relearn. So we need to get this on YouTube, don't we, fairly quickly so people can go back through this. Now, looking at some of your postures just now while you were on there, I think we need Ali, the physio, don't we, just to give us a little bit of a walk through one or two things, particularly if I was doing the right screen share there, which I wasn't, but I will in a minute. Right, so that's the. So Ali, what's the first stretch all about that we should be doing?
Well, hi Derek, and hello everyone. Great to see you all again. And some of those I haven't met before, great to see you. Really, I just wanted to mention stretching out after exercise, because we're all cooped up at home if we're on lockdown. Everyone's going out for, I hope, going out for walks, runs, whatever. But do they stretch when they get home? Most people don't, unless they've been nagged by somebody or they really know about it. So this is all about stretching out your calf muscles and your hamstring muscles. You don't need to have your hands up the wall as if you're about to be shot or frisked. It's just that was the only image I could find to put up. But really it helps if you stretch out your muscles, just hold them for 10 or 15 seconds, and you know you'll feel much better afterwards. You won't get that post-DOMS, we call it, which is the post-exercise ache, I guess is the best way of describing it. Takes 10 seconds to do it, and it makes a huge difference. So that's all about stretching your calf muscles.
And remind me, Ali, what does stretching actually do to the body? Does it get rid of all that, is it cortisol or cortisone or whatever it is?
Lactic acid. So it helps to get rid of the lactic acid. So when you really use a muscle, you can, actually, I think I nagged about this before, but when you're sitting with poor posture, the lactic acid builds up in your muscles because they're not moving. From exercise, it's more that they've been used a lot and they run out of all their nutrients and they build up lactic acid. So stretching helps to get rid of that. Plus a glass of water. Drinking lots of water helps too.
Okay, and why do footballers go in an ice cold bath straight after playing a match? I was wondering.
Well, that's exactly for this reason. They're trying to do a shortcut to actually make sure they don't get any DOMS. I think that's kind of going out of fashion a bit now. It was the big thing that everybody did, but there's been some research that shows maybe it's not quite so great. But the idea was, let's dissipate all that lactic acid, let's stop the muscles from stiffening up. And also, it must be blooming painful, so not sure why they really like to do it.
Must be horrible. That's your second slide.
Okay, so this one is for a bit higher up the leg. It's more for the hamstring muscle, which is the one at the back from the buttock down to the knee. Gets very stiff, especially if you're a runner. This is a good one to stretch, and a cyclist as well, because you use that muscle a lot. So that's all about just stretching out higher up the leg. And if you go on to the last one, Derek. So this one is the forgotten one. Most people forget to stretch out the front of their hips and the front of their thigh muscle. And when you've been walking or doing any kind of exercise that involves your legs, you do get a buildup of lactic acid and stiffness in your thigh muscles. So this is all about just pulling your leg up behind you. And if you're going to say to me, well, I can't reach my leg, just grab your trousers if you've got them on. Anything will do, just so long as you get that little bit of stretch, standing up straight, pushing your hips forward and feeling a really nice stretch down the front of the thigh. Makes a big difference.
And the main thing that people get wrong is that they get to my age, which is pretty ancient or whatever, and then we go out and do something without warming up, don't we? And that could be just, I guess, gardening or cycling, or I do know somebody who went and played a five-a-side football match and got injured, but I won't say who that is. He's a good friend of mine, though. And turning to Will Kintish now, back to Will Kintish. LinkedIn, Will, you know a lot about LinkedIn, and there's some tricks on LinkedIn that we should do, aren't there? So can you share a few of them with us now? People make big mistakes on LinkedIn. Over to you. You're muted, Will. Will, you're muted and you're in the sun. Well, I better keep talking while he's I've unmuted you. You're still muted, Will. Okay, well, I've used LinkedIn, as I've mentioned before, until Will comes in, for about 10 years. But when the editor of my book said, how many connections have you got on LinkedIn? And I said 500. And she said, you need a lot more than that, Derek, for the business case to get the book published. I realized that as long as the person was pretty sensible, I should link to them. Now, I know Will disagrees with that, and he doesn't link to quite so many people, but it works. It works for me, and it works in different ways. But Will, can you, are you unmuted now?
Yeah.
Good.
First of all, Ali, can I tell you, I started for the first time in my life playing walking football 12 months ago this week, and stopped doing that because within 10 minutes, I thought somebody had shot me in the back of my leg, and I tore my Achilles tendon.
Within 10 minutes, that's pretty impressive.
Unbelievable. And honestly, it's no joke. I've never been the same since. I've hobbled ever since. It's getting better, but it's going to take forever, I think. Anyway, back to LinkedIn.
Come on, tell us about LinkedIn, Will.
Yeah, very quickly, everybody. You've all got hundreds of level 1 contacts. I hope a large percentage of them are your people you already know. The one piece of advice I'd like to give you all is spend your time with the people you already know. I don't think you need to be spending a lot of time looking for lots of new contacts at this point. Farm those existing contacts. Send them an email, send them an article. And something I learned through a PSA member, a lovely lady called Kate Trafford, she said recently, if you're going to offer some of your clients advice, make sure it's specific. So don't say to a client, well, I hope you're keeping well and safe, and if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. A much better piece of advice from Kate is, by the way, there's 2 things I could help you with. Would you like me to run a session on A or a session on B, or send you an article on A or an article on B? So I'm going to talk very quickly about reinforcing relationships and giving away stuff. The more you tell, the more you sell. And hopefully people will have good memories. And when we get back to normal, whatever that's going to be, they're going to think, oh, Ali was fantastic, gave away loads of free advice. John was fantastic. Derek was fantastic, so on. So farm those existing connections on LinkedIn a lot more than looking for new ones. Because I believe, and I've always believed it, that whilst LinkedIn is fantastic, at the end of the day, you have to meet the people face to face to begin with. Well, needless to say, we can't do that at the moment. So reinforced relationships is my final message.
And do you post general things, Will, like I do sometimes? I don't know if they're effective or not.
I do. I post 2 or 3 times a week. And for those of you, I don't know whether you understand this, a post is a bit like a Facebook post. It goes down the list and it disappears. But if you write a post, in the right-hand corner of your post, you will see 3 little dots. It's like a menu. You can then, what's the word I'm looking for? You call that post a feature, and it arrives and stays on your profile. So if you write what you think is a really good post, you can turn it into a feature, which is basically an article, and it stays on your profile.
Fabulous, fabulous. Anything else we need to know before I switch to
yes,
John Hotowka?
Don't accept invitations from people you've never heard of. If they've got a good profile, write to them and say, thank you so much for your kind invitation. I hope you're staying safe and well. Start off with nice words and say, please forgive me. Have we met? And if we haven't met, why would you like to link in with me? And then, if like me, you are in the advice giving business, even though you might never hear from them again, and very rarely do you hear from these strangers again, even at that point, give away some free information. That's my advice. only link in with people. And if they reply to you, like I had one an hour ago, well, we've not actually met. I apologize for not sending you a friendly invitation, but my friend Derek recommended you and he said, da, 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 da. Well, if you get a nice reply back from that stranger, then yeah, it's start of a relationship. But I never accept invitations with that one liner. Don't see the point.
Well, that's fantastic advice. Thank you very much for that. Can I remind everybody where the chat box is? It's the down the bottom. Move your mouse down to the bottom of the chat box. Please put your questions in the chat box for Will, for me, for Ali, or for John, because that is the easiest way to answer the questions and keep them short and sharp. Now I want to introduce another friend of mine. I'm calling on a lot of friends recently to come on the chat show. This is John Hotowka, who's known as the resilience speaker. But when I was president of the Professional Speaking Association, I asked John if he would go on stage and talk about resilience, but also use a few of his brilliant magic tricks, which always astound me. And he did, but guess who he picked on to make a fool out of the magic tricks? Me, the president. I didn't realize that was going to happen, so I've never forgiven him for that, but it was all good fun, and I still couldn't see how he did these. So John, welcome. Thanks very much for joining us today. And what have you got to tell us?
Thank you for inviting me, and it's a pleasure not to be with you. That's under the circumstances. You said show everybody a trick, so let us try it. I'm going to need somebody to help me with this. Alan McCulloch. Alan, can you hear me, Alan? Can you unmute yourself, Alan? Can you go for it, Alan? Alan's looking a little worried. He's thinking, why is he picking on me? I'm picking on you, Alan. Oh, you don't know how to unmute yourself. Perfect.
I've
Alan,
done it.
marvelous. Yeah. Alan, right. Have you ever in your entire life seen an invisible pack of cards before?
No, I haven't.
That's correct, because they're invisible. So I happen to have these. Now, Alan, I'm going to pass these over the camera. It's an invisible pack of playing cards. Reach across, take them. Right, you got them? Lovely. Fine. Now, I'd like to give them a shuffle, please. That's it. If you could take them out of the box first. That's great. Lovely. That's fine. Now, did you drop the box on the floor?
Yeah.
You're going to need that little later on. So if you could pick it up.
Sorry, I get it.
Alan, you're making a mess of this, Alan. Right. So just shuffle. What you're doing well, you're shuffling the cards. Right. So I want everybody to see, spread them out in front of the camera so that everybody can see that they're all mixed up.
Alan, can you say something while you're doing it, and then you'll come on the main screen?
Yes, John. I will follow your orders to the last letter.
To the right, fine, okay, lovely. To the last letter, right. Now, Alan, put them on the table, and I want you
John, they're on the table now.
Are they face up or face down?
Face down, of course.
Right. I'd like you to pick any one of those cards, pick it out of the spread, take it out, make a note of it, and put it back face up into the pack. So you've got one card the opposite way around.
Yeah.
Mix up the cards. That's it. Put them back in the box. You got it? Lovely. And pass them over here. Pass them over here through the lens. Through the lens. Pass them over.
Yeah.
Right. Got them. Right.
Okay.
Fine. So, Alan, you had an invisible pack of cards. This is a real pack of cards.
Fantastic.
Have we ever met before?
No, we haven't. Genius.
Then how do you know it's me? Anyway, Alan, for the very first time, what was the card that you turned around in the pack?
What, do you want me to tell you now in front of everybody?
Well, either that or would you prefer a question on sport?
Well, no, the card was 2 of hearts.
The 2 of hearts. Alan, that is amazing, right? I'm going to open up the pack, right? I'll take them out like this. I'm going to go through the cards. The 2 of hearts.
Yeah, it was.
I can't believe it. Right, can you see? One card is reversed.
Yeah, what can that be?
Are you ready? I can't believe this myself.
I'm not ready for this. Go on.
After all of that shuffling and everything, Alan.
That's unbelievable.
How did you do that? Alan, that's amazing how you did that.
Can I be your assistant?
Yes, I've got a leotard just your size in the back of the car. So if you can get ready for rehearsal. So now, so Derek says, I thought we were just going to have fun. But you see, let's have a little resilience. No, you know what? When it comes to resilience, sometimes, and this is the simplest message of all, sometimes we've just got to have fun. Things can be just so serious. Sometimes just do things that are pointless, that we can enjoy ourselves, so that we can get ourselves in the right frame of mind to do business and carry on. As simple as that. Thank you, Alan. By the way, if you're available next Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, I don't have any gigs to go to, so don't bother coming.
John, that was fantastic. What really annoys me about John is I always try and work out why he's doing the trick, and he always says just sit back and enjoy it. But I want to know how it's
done. Go with the ride. Go with the ride. Just go with the flow.
Just go with the flow. And I think that's probably the message at the moment, isn't it? Chill out. Go.
Right. Go with the flow. Just take one step at a time.
Yeah.
When it comes to uncertainty, it's amazing how we can overburden ourselves and feel overwhelmed. But just take one step at a time. That's all you need to do. One step.
John, thanks for that. That was absolutely brilliant. And any questions for John, apart from how did you do it, in the chat box, please. And questions for Will or for me. We have a question for you, Ali. So into the chat box would be great. In the USA, breathing is gaining in popularity. Oh, people are breathing in the US. That's good. As a way to fight stress, as well as increase immunity. Have you seen the YouTube videos of Wim Hof?
I haven't seen the videos of Wim Hof, but it's absolutely right that breathing is key to controlling your stress and immunity and that kind of thing. And I do quite a lot of work with people on that. In fact, in these times at the moment, I'm doing virtual consultations, and they're mainly either people who fell over and hurt themselves and need some exercises, or people who are so stressed that they want to talk to me, and we do breathing and relaxation techniques together. So I will look him up. Wim Hof. Okay, I shall look for it. Thank you. Was that you? That was Tim, was it?
That's Tim. That's Tim from.
May I say something, Derek?
Of course.
One of the reasons that I got into it was I did not know that virtually every special operator in the military, it takes breathing and breathing exercises very seriously before, during, and after kinetic activities. But this Wim Hof, this is the man who ran a marathon in Antarctica in shorts and bare feet. He sits in ice baths because of his breathing technique. And I've tried it. It's absolutely remarkable. And it's very, very powerful. There's a lot of research coming out on that. So, Ali, I have profound respect. I really appreciate your points today and before. So I just wanted to pass that along.
Thank you very much, Tim. I'm going to look at that when we finish.
Thanks, Tim. Ryan Pereira, who I've known for a long time.
What was the name of that? I'm sorry for interrupting. What was the name of that person again, please?
Wim, he's I believe he's a Polish fellow. Wim, W-I-M, last name Hof, H-O-F.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tim's put it into the chat box as well, so it's in there for anybody. I'm going to look it up on Amazon in a minute, because I always do when people recommend anybody to us. Ryan Pereira, who I've worked with over a number of years, sadly a Manchester United supporter like Will, but I won't mention that, says that he received Will's LinkedIn invitation query when he tried to link with him today. I thought it was very well done, and I learned something from today. Good to meet you, Will, and look forward to seeing you on more of these. Cool. Fantastic. Okay. Well, we're nearly at the end. I just want to tell you who I've negotiated with to come on on Wednesday and Thursday. And if there's any more questions, and then I'll stop the video. And as usual, the guests and anyone who wants to stay on when we're not recording can ask any questions that they want to. So on Wednesday, it's very exciting. I've got Esther Stanhope. Now, Esther is a full of life lady. She was a BBC producer for many years, and she produced programs with Boris Johnson on. She was involved in Strictly Come Dancing, watching Bruce, who is Bruce Forsyth, who's probably one of the ultimate presenters that can look right down the camera into your living room, etc., and make you feel at home. She was telling me a few things about how he gets his jokes and his scripts, which was brilliant. And she's done 12,500 live hours of radio when you don't quite know what's going to happen next. And on Thursday, I've issued a challenge to two of my American friends, Tim and Kevin, to join myself and one other person giving out 5 tips in 1 minute. So we'll have 20 tips in 20 minutes, and no one's allowed to overrun. They've got to be a business tip, a life tip, a physio tip, it doesn't matter, but something we can use. And it might be something we know, but you know how I feel about things we know. Most people know what to do and then don't do what they know. And Will and I have been at all sorts of conferences, as with Duncan and a few other people, and we just go, oh, I heard that 15 years ago, but I never did it. I never did anything about it. And it's amazing how you hear things and then you don't do anything, and then you have to grow up a bit. And although some of us have never grown up, and I like it that way, but so yeah, so we've got that challenge. I'm still looking for my partner to come in on that challenge with me. So it's going to be good fun. I've got a couple of invites out. So look forward to seeing you on Wednesday lunchtime. Some of you already registered. Thank you for that. And on Thursday. And I've invited a couple of other people for next week. So I'm going to keep this going as long as we can, and as long as we've got interest, and while we're in lockdown. One question for anybody, and then I'll close the recording. Okay, guys. Well, I'll close the recording, leave it open for those that need to get away, and we can have a few questions for the guests. Thanks very much for joining me. See you on Wednesday. This is Derek Arden. Have a look at the YouTube channel of all the recordings. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.